Hi, welcome to Cooking Unlimited with Chef Crystal. I am Chef Crystal, and this is the last episode in my February episodes of celebrating Black History Month and our food culture, but I'm diving right on into celebrating Women's Month. So you're getting two for one. It is worth the wait, but I'm going to just dive right into this episode, and I'm going to talk about a man named Nathan Green, aka Uncle Nearest. Now, I want to start off saying, we don't know, because this was so long ago, and they did the history, they look back. We don't know if Uncle Nearest was born into slavery, but we know he was a slave. And Uncle Nearest made Tennessee whiskey, what Tennessee whiskey is before Tennessee whiskey was. Yeah, catch you under that. But what I mean by this, he actually worked on a farm, on a man named Dan Call's farm, and he made whiskey on this farm. He also created the Lincoln County process, which distilled the whiskey through coals that distinguishes Tennessee whiskey from Kentucky bourbon. That's why I say he's the one that made Tennessee whiskey before it was Tennessee whiskey. And his process, it still goes on today, because it is the process that makes it different from Kentucky bourbon. Now, he got this from the West Africans when they came over, because the West Africans used to distill their water through coals to purify it. So this was the process which Uncle Nearest created and made, and he did this for I don't know how long before a man named, or a young boy named Jasper Newton actually came onto the farm and asked Dan Calls for a job. Now, Dan Calls hired him, and he became an apprentice, and all the while Jasper would see all this things going on in the background, and he would see, horses bringing up stuff and everything, and he was just so curious about it. He would ask Dan what was going on, and so Dan introduces Jasper to Uncle Nearest and asks Uncle Nearest to teach Jasper everything he knows about distilling and making whiskey. And Uncle Nearest, being the man he was, said yes. He did it. So Jasper learns how to make this whiskey. He starts to sell this whiskey, and eventually he buys Dan Call's farm. And after buying Dan Call's farm, he opens up his first distillery, which Jasper, if y'all don't know, now you know, because I'm about to tell you, is Jack Daniels. And he opens up his first distillery, Jack Daniels. Yes, Jack Daniels was taught by a black man, Uncle Nearest, how to make Tennessee whiskey. And in 1865, the 13th Amendment was ratified, and soon after, that made Uncle Nearest a free man, which he actually became Jack Daniels' master distiller. Now, they had a great relationship. It was a great friendship. And not only did Uncle Nearest work at Jack Daniels, but Uncle Nearest's sons worked for Jack Daniels, and even his grandsons worked for Jack Daniels. So this was a great relationship. Jack Daniels recognizes Uncle Nearest for teaching him how to make whiskey, but people really didn't recognize it or bring it to the forefront until about 2016, 2017, when Fawn Weaver would bring it to everybody's attention. And she did it through research. She had historians looking into this story and finding out more information. And she interviewed all Uncle Nearest's descendants. And in this process, she asked his descendants, how would you pay homage to Uncle Nearest today if you could? And they responded by saying, we would want a bottle with Uncle Nearest's name on it to pay homage. And she did this. She actually started the foundation which brought Uncle Nearest whiskey to life. Now, through this process, they made two whiskeys, 1856, which is their premium whiskey, and 1820, which is their small barrel version. And then they actually asked one of Uncle Nearest's descendants, his great-great-granddaughter named Victoria Edie Butler, to make their 1884 small batch barrel. So I'm gonna say that again because I got it a little twisted. 1856 premium whiskey, 1820 single barrel whiskey, and 1884, which is their small batch whiskey, which their great-great-granddaughter Victoria Edie Butler made for them. She is the first one to curate a bottle for Uncle Nearest, and they wanted this bottle to be special. They wanted to be in the gene line. They wanted to be in the pool of one of his descendants. And I want to talk about Victoria because this is where we celebrate in Women's Month. Now, Victoria had no idea about making whiskey. She worked for the DOJ for 31 years. And she actually started working for Uncle Nearest in the administration part of it. And she actually would help start the foundation for Uncle Nearest's descendants, college age, to get full scholarships to college. And they asked her to make this whiskey, and she made the first batch, and it was so popular, it sold out, and so they asked her to make a second batch. Well, the second batch became the third batch, and this is where the story becomes interesting, because as she's making these batches of whiskey, she's learning more about the process. She's learning more. Now, like I said, she's never made whiskey before, but it got to be in the blood. It got to be in the genes. Something like, you know, cooking for me is in my genes. Like my dad cooked, my mom cooked. My dad cooked professionally. My mom, she did what all mothers do. They make it do what it do. They work with what they got. And my mom makes some of the greatest food alive. I don't care what nobody said, but it was in her genes. It was in her blood. And the reason we're celebrating her is because I believe in 2017, that's when the whiskey actually started. I got a bottle right here, my 1884, because I'm doing the dual. She became the first African-American woman to be named Master Blender. Yes. In 2017, 2018. Yeah, just recent, 2019. First Black woman to be named Master Blender. So, 1884, small batch. Now, I live in Philadelphia. I believe it's stores in Philadelphia. You could go online to find his whiskeys. I didn't find the 1820. I did find the 1856 and the 1884, but I didn't find the 1820. But go online and look where you can find his whiskey. And I'm telling you, you won't regret it. It is delicious. As you see, we kind of cracked it. I wanted to taste it open. But it's just a great story, and I'm so glad that it was brought to life. It was highlighted. It's one of the fastest growing whiskeys in the world right now. It's grown tremendously, but it still needs to be pushed more. The story needs to be got out, because I still don't think a lot of people know about his story and who he was. And it's amazing to me, and it's amazing that women is just recently becoming recognized and becoming, like I said, for her to become the first African-American master blender in recent years. We're in 2021, so we're saying in the last 4 to 5 years that this happened, because in the last 4 to 5 years this whiskey came out, that, you know, we're still climbing that ladder and breaking down doors. So kudos to you, Victoria, and thank you, Uncle Nearest, because today, you know, we always get to that time in the video where, you know, what we about to do. We ain't going to be doing too much cooking, but we're about to cook. But what I wanted to do with this special whiskey is I not only wanted to do something special, which I'll do another video later with a special guest, which she'll be making a special blend or a special drink with this whiskey, but I just wanted to give y'all a little something. But I'm doing something a little different. You know, I got to be different. I'm pairing this whiskey with a dessert. Yes, we're doing an old-fashioned something, an old fashioned. Beautiful. We're going to let the whiskey talk. We're going to do an old fashioned, but we're going to pair this. You ready for this? We're going to pair this with a brown butter. So, okay, let me start over. We're going to do an old fashioned, but doing the old fashioned, I was like, you know, we celebrate Black History Month and our food culture. What goes good with that, and soul food, pecan pie. But we're going to deconstruct the pecan pie. So we're going to do a brown butter pecan chocolate chip cookie with a caramel mousse, a salted caramel mousse, a pecan praline, and we got special, and oh, I'm gonna do a blood orange jelly, and we got a special thing we're going to do. So you want to stay tuned. You want to stay and watch, because it's going to be special. It's going to smoke and everything, but you got to see it to the end. So, all right, now we're about to cook. Okay, so welcome back. Now it's time to cook it. We're just going to do a little bit of cooking on this. So what I wanted to do was first start with the brown butter pecan chocolate chip cookie. And what I did first is I actually took my butter and I browned it. You see that beautiful color right there? Now, browning butter is just, you're cooking the milk fats in it, and it's getting the caramelized flavor, starting to caramelize, and you're going to smell this nuttiness come off of the butter. Take it off. When you start seeing it change to that nice brown color and you smell the nuttiness of the butter, then you want to take it off. You're going to let that cool for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now, while the butter is cooking, we mix together flour, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And we're going to set our dry ingredients to the side. Then you want to mix together dark brown sugar, and granulated sugar. And you're going to combine that, and you're going to actually mix that in with your brown butter. Now, it's going to be kind of loose because the butter is melted. It's not a solid, but it's not solid butter. But as you mix it, you're going to drop in your eggs. That's why you want to let it cool, because if the butter is too hot, you'll have scrambled eggs. So you ain't going to have no cookie. You're going to have, I don't know what you want to have, but it ain't going to be my recipe. So that's why you want to let the butter cool. You're going to drop in your 2 eggs and your vanilla and let that whip up till it's nice and airy and it lightens up in color. After it lightens up, you're going to add your dry ingredients, your flour, your baking soda, and your salt to it. You're going to blend that together, and then you're going to add your accoutrements. So this is a base recipe, so you can add whatever you want to it. I added chocolate chips and chopped pecans. They're whole right there, but chop them up. You know what I'm talking about. And this is the key. 2 keys, 2 important points. Let your butter cool. It doesn't have to be as solid as mine is. Let it cool though, so you don't scramble the eggs. And then let it sit for at least a half an hour to let the flour hydrate, because it's going to be nice and loose. It's going to be loose. It's not going to look like cookie dough. You're going to be like, I don't know what the hell she told me to do, but this ain't no cookie dough I ever made. Let it sit. You can even put it in the refrigerator. Come back to it later. But when you put it in the refrigerator, take it out like 10, 15 minutes before you want to use it. And here you go. A brown butter chocolate chip cookie dough. I am not going to make these into balls or rolls. I'm actually going to spread it into my 9x13 cookie tray, and I'm going to let it bake like a bar. So that's what I'm going to do. Bake it like a bar, and then we're going to come back for what we're going to do next. We're going to do some caramel mousse and some praline. Yes. So we have our cookie baking in a 400-degree oven. Now we're going to get started on the caramel sauce, or the caramel mousse. Please take caution. Sugar, you don't want to burn yourself with sugar. It's the worst thing in the world. It will take your skin off. So please be careful if you're going to make caramel sauce. But first thing you want to do is take your sugar and water and put it into a pan. And you want to let the sugar and water cook. And it's going to start turning this golden brown. And once it turns to golden brown, you want to take the sugar off the heat and add your heavy cream in. And this is going to give you this beautiful caramel sauce right here. Now you want to let your caramel cool, because we're going to add mousse to this, or whipped cream to this, and you don't want your whipped cream to dissolve or curdle in here, which it can if it's too hot. So we're going to take, while that's cooling, we're going to take our heavy cream, vanilla, and we're going to add some sea salt to our caramel. This is what's going to add that salted flavor. You want to add that at the end. So we're going to take our heavy cream and our vanilla, and we're going to whip it up till it stiff peaks and make whipped cream. So, not going anywhere. We're going to take our cool caramel sauce, and you want to fold it in. You don't want to whisk this in, because you don't want to lose that airiness. So we're going to take just a part of it and start to fold in. Now, I'm not going around the whole bowl. I'm taking and I'm cutting halfway through. And this is going to fold that in. Now, I just want to get it started. So now I'm going to take more. I'm going to take more this time. And I'm going to go ahead and fold that into our caramel. And you want to do this till everything is all incorporated. It's about the wrist action. It's all about that wrist action. And then you go around. You cut it halfway through. Get it all nice. And then go all the way around. Look at that. It's beautiful. Now we're going to put this in the refrigerator and get the rest of our things going. Next is the praline. Cookie done. Mousse chilling out. Now we're going to make the praline. So I have about 100 grams of caster sugar. And all you're going to do, this is kind of the same thing as making a caramel sauce, but we're not having water. Now, some people, you could start with a little water to help you start out, but this, we're just going to go straight sugar, and we're going to let it turn to this beautiful color. You see? Like, look at that. See how beautiful it is? And then what you want to do is, while this is cooking, while your sugar is cooking, be careful again. Be careful. Sugar will take your skin off. You want to take your chopped pecans. I got about 40 grams of chopped pecans. I toasted that off. And you're going to pour out your sugar on a piece of parchment or a seal pad, whatever you have. No metal. Parchment paper, wax paper, seal pad. And then you're going to sprinkle your pecans, your toasted pecans right over top. And it's going to be like this. It's going to be beautiful. Spread it out thin enough so you can bite it or eat it if you like. And then what I did was I took a piece of it and I grinded it up. That's the actual praline right there. Taking it and grinding it up. So I want the bigger pieces for garnish. And then I want these for garnish too. So, now that we have that done, we're going to do some jelly, and we're going to do a special thing. So, I'm going to come back and plate it. Yes. Bye. So there you have it. We celebrating, the last episode celebrating Black History Month and our food culture, and going into celebrating Women's Month. We celebrated Uncle Nearest and his 1884, 1856, and 1820 whiskey. We have an old fashioned here, and now we're about to come to the dessert. And now for the dessert, you ready? We did a smoked brown butter and pecan chocolate chip cookie with a salted caramel crumble, pecan praline, and we smoked the whole thing. There you have it, folks. Dessert paired with Uncle Nearest 1884 small batch whiskey made by Victoria herself. And this is it for Cooking Unlimited with Chef Crystal, and we're out. Peace.